Any update on where Josh Palmer is at with his knee?
Yeah, Daniel, just day to day. To be determined for this weekend.
But still a chance that he could play this weekend.
To be determined.
Going up against a pretty good unit here with the Jets defense, just what are you seeing from them on film?
Yeah, they're playing really well as a unit. I think it starts up front in their front seven. They got 8 D linemen that they roll through there, and then 3 linebackers who can really run. C.J. Mosley there in the middle. He's as good of an inside linebacker. I think he's kind of that mold of a guy that's been doing it at such a high level for so long, and he's kind of the anchor there in the middle. But they've got good team speed, and I think in the secondary they play well together. Sauce Gardner, he's turned into one of the top corners in the league, and they're a team that really plays hard too. That their play style shows up on tape. So well-coached group.
In terms of game script, against we talked about the Cowboys obviously have an outstanding front. Weren't able to sort of establish the run early in that game. They were really able to get after you guys in the pass rush. How do you avoid that type of game script this week against the Jets, outside of run the ball better? Obviously that would help, but just specifically, how do you sort of avoid falling into that?
Yeah, I think you gotta keep them off balance. You gotta force those guys to. The big thing you got to force defenses to do is to adjust, and force them to see things that they have to second guess and keep them off balance. It doesn't just mean, hey, run the ball. It's just you got to really force their defense to communicate and force them to adjust and keep them off balance. If you get them a steady diet, when you just turn into a passing team and it's drop back, now they can get into rhythm with not only their front seven, but then their back seven too, in terms of how they play. So that's how I think you need to play against all good defenses, but particularly defenses that have dominant fronts or that capacity to really dominate. I think that that's going to be important in the game.
What's allowed Sauce Gardner to be so good early in his career?
Well, he's got a lot of confidence. He's got a lot of tools to work with. He's got real size and length. For someone that's tall like Sauce is, he's got really good change of direction and lower body movement. He's not just a big guy that can run. He's got real movement skills, which I think makes you a more complete cover guy. But he's got good instincts. He's got good ball skills. That's how it was at Cincinnati. Like I said, he's established himself as one of the top corners in the game.
When you evaluate the first 8 games, besides that game against Miami, what do you find on tape is the reason why the numbers on the ground are lower?
For our offense? Yeah, I think that we've been a little bit off, and that's when you're inconsistent, it's not just one area. I think if it was one area, we could solve it, I think it's each area just doing a little bit better. And there's just sometimes in some aspects of your team, there's just that period where you got to figure it out. The running game on offense for us is one of those areas where it's just taken us some time to figure it out. But we got the right guys for the job. I know that we're working hard at it. I know that we have a capable group. And, this will be another good opportunity for us to come together.
Is that a big thing that you have been focusing on today and for this week?
Yeah, that's a part of it. The aspects where you feel like you need to improve, for sure. That's been a focus for us. But again, like I said, it's collective, and and it's not abandoning the mission. It's just doing the things within your identity better collectively, and that's what we've been focusing on. Is just leaning into who we are and making sure that we're improving, as a unit, and that will eventually lead to the production.
Do you think maybe it's not as fair to look at that number when you have a quarterback in Justin Herbert that's putting up crazy numbers through the air?
Yeah, Bridget, I think every game is different, and like last game, the way that we threw the football is what we needed to do to win that game. The way they were playing us, and Chicago's got a really good run defense statistically. They engineer a lot of their defense to take away the run, and so I think it was one of those completion games for us, and that's how we had to play the game. And so I think the mission was accomplished in terms of how we wanted to play that game, getting Justin in rhythm. I thought we protected the passer really well, so that's a sign that our front was playing well. But in the run game, there's room for improvement, and I think everybody knows that. And it's just I told you guys, sometimes there's just aspects of offense, defense, and kicking game that just take more time than others, and that's an aspect of ours that we need to keep working on.
You guys waived Trey McKitty. What went into that decision?
Yeah, Daniel, just performance. I just felt like we needed to upgrade the production at that position, and that's the reason why.
Is that production across the board, or specifically in terms of blocking? Because obviously when you guys drafted Trey, the vision for him was to sort of fit into your offense as that blocking tight end.
Yeah, just all aspects of the tight end position. Felt like we just needed to upgrade.
And what do you feel like Nick Vanette can bring?
Yeah, Nick's, he's got experience in the league. He's got the size, balanced body control. He's played in really good systems, and just feel like he's going to give us that experience and that consistency at the point of attack that we're looking for.
Keenan Allen's coming up on 10,000 yards receiving in his career. Why has he been able to sustain greatness for such a long period of time?
Well, I think he's evolved. I think he's stayed consistent in performance because of how committed he is to his craft. He really plays the receiver position, as an art form. And I think that when you play it like him, what makes Keenan special, ages well. The older you get, his physical gifts aren't what make him special. It's how he plays receiver. That consistency that he's played with his whole career is because of that commitment to playing the receiver position at the highest level. And I think he can do things that are tough for receivers. He can play outside, he can play inside, he can read coverages, he can get to places that others can't get to because of his feel. And, I think you see it with Kelsey, the way that he plays and the consistency of his performance, of just being able to have that feel and that friendliness to the quarterback. And really, no matter what the coverage, I can get open. And that's inside and outside. And, he's such a smart player. You can do so much with him. And that's why you see the production, and one of the top receivers in the game. And I think he's a receiver that everybody's trying to model their game after. And I know me being here 3 years, I think I've had a deeper appreciation for him every year I've been the coach. And I felt like, in training camp this year, I was like, this guy's a monster. I'm like, we can't cover him in training camp. And that's year 10 or whatever it is for him. And so he just continues to do it at that premium level. He means a lot to our team from a leadership standpoint. And he's earning everything that's coming his way.
How much, you talk about his feel and stuff. How much of that was he just born with that? Or can guys develop that? Or is it just kind of
he's got some stuff that's intangible that's hard to find. And I think that if you could give that to everybody else, then you'd have more people that have numbers like he does. But some of it is from God and his family, but I think his commitment to the craft, that part's all Keenan, because it's not like everything that he has is God-given. His being able to separate, his footwork, his setup, that's all the skills that he's earned along the way. And, he's still doing it as well as anybody in the game.
What are your conversations like with him now after 3 years?
Well, I just, they're grown conversations. They're that deepest level of football, in terms of attacking a coverage, attacking a certain defender, a certain type of defense, how you can, predict the coverage that you're in based on your location, a couple things that you can look at, because he can see it like a coach, and he's seen all the looks. The thing about Keenan is he's been seeing the double coverage for the last 8 years of his career. It's been some type of double, to Keenan on third down, some type of, whether it's a man-to-man double, a zone double, he's seen it all. And so he's one of those guys that can pick up on all those tactical clues. Football, there's 22 guys out there and there's 80,000 people at the stadium, and he can pick up on the little things that will allow him to separate and be open for the quarterback. That's why you see the production year in and year out.
Are opposing defenses, not to move off of Keenan, but are opposing defenses playing you guys structurally any different this season? The reason I ask is the numbers show that you guys are seeing fewer too high shells, but I don't know if that's just been skewed by some of the games like the Vikings game, for example. Or has there been any sort of structural change, or is that just maybe small sample size?
I don't know. I think it may just be the identity of the defenses that we're playing. Like, hey, that they want to play like they're a split safety team or something like that. I don't think anyone, with, especially when we opened the season with, Mike, Keenan, Josh saying like, hey, let's play a bunch of single safety, and have that group one-on-one. I don't think anyone is thinking that way against us. But sometimes I think the way the defenses have changed in the league with all the motion, I think you're seeing just a fair amount of shell defense, where people are trying to put roofs on the coverage, have overlap, and being able to deal with all the motion. So I think that's more coincidence than anything. I just think league-wide you're seeing more of that.
Are there instances where you pick Keenan's brain trying to figure out, as a defensive coach, what he might tell you a certain thing, and so I can use that against somebody else?
Yeah, I think when you're trying to, we have to defend so many tough guys. You go through our schedule and you can see the premium receivers that we've had to defend, and it's every week in the league seems like you're facing someone like Keenan, like Mike, and so I think with a player like Keenan that's moved around the formation, you get a feel for, I think, how you need to coach your defenders, how he's trying to manipulate their leverage. Okay, if he knows that you're outside, okay, this is how he's trying to get outside. When you're in a premium leverage, how he can still beat it. So you're just trying to, I think, pick his brain to talk to the defensive guys like, hey, this is how I would set you up based on where you are. And but again, there's some of those second-level decisions that he makes that, no one else can replicate, and the timing of it. And, I just think he's got a lot of time on task beating people. And that's why you see him, the way you do just at this point in his career. And, I know that we're talking a ton about him, but he's worthy of it, because to have that type of consistency and performance, it's rare.
3 out of your next 4 games are against teams with winning records. You've got a bunch of really good teams, left on the schedule. Obviously, not to get too far in front, but do you like that the rest of your schedule, you guys are going to have to go up against some of the best teams in the NFL right now to get to where you want to go? You talked before about how the NFL is about premium matchups. Is that something that you look forward to?
Yeah, I think we've had premium matchups to start the season. So I think I look at our first 7 games and I look back at a lot of premium matchups with teams that are going to be there at the end. So that's how the NFL is. Every week you have to be ready to play, and you can't be looking too far in the future with your team. There's a lot that can change week to week in the NFL based on the matchup. And, the NFL to me is about the matchup in front of you. It's not about the matchups, down the road, because you know what? A lot of things happen in the NFL down the road. And so that matchup changed. The way it looks now, it may not be that same way later. So we're focused on the New York Jets. This is a really good football team. They've beaten a lot of quality teams. They've got a winning record. We've got a lot of respect for them, coaching and playing, and that's where our focus is right now.